come up, please. Sarah Gelsomino has personally been turned away and had trouble identifying where clients are. Turns out they're at Home and Square, and we stand with her today and hear her story. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Gelsomino, G-E-L-S-O-M-I-N-O, and I'm an attorney at the People's Law Office. And I do know from experience the impact, experience as a criminal defense lawyer and a civil rights lawyer, the impact of individuals who are held incommunicado in police custody. When I represented NATO summit protesters in the lead up to the NATO summit in 2012, they were arrested in the middle of the night and disappeared into police custody for over 17 hours. And we could not find them for over 17 hours despite our best efforts to locate them. And inside, they were terrified. They were terrified that they didn't know, that no one knew where they were on the outside. They were terrified that they didn't know when or if they'd ever been released. And every time they asked for a phone call, every time they asked to talk to their lawyers, they were told, no, you do not get to call a lawyer. No, you do not get a phone call. That's not how this works. And as you just heard, this is not, this wasn't some anomaly. This wasn't some unique situation in the lead up to the NATO summit. This is the norm. This is standard operating procedure for the Chicago Police Department, and it is unconstitutional, plain and simple. We, all of us, have the right to legal counsel. It is one of the fundamental constitutional rights. It is a bedrock principle for our entire criminal legal system. The least the city of Chicago can do is to provide detainees in their custody with a meaningful right to access that fundamental right to counsel. The negative and lasting impact of the denial of this right, not only on detainees and arrestees in police custody, but on their families and on their communities, is immeasurable, and it can no longer be tolerated. It is unconscionable for the city of Chicago and for its police department to continue to intentionally deny arrestees their right to this fundamental constitutional right to access a lawyer. You know, part of the impetus to form FDLA, as I understand it, was the fact that for years, individuals were being held incommunicado and were being tortured by the now infamous John Burge and his henchmen. And decades later, this city is still trying to contend with the immeasurable harm that resulted from that torture. We need reparations at this point to try to heal some of the damage that resulted from that torture. We need the city council and the mayor to step up and to publicly support the reparations ordinance, which is finally going to hearing in front of the city council on April 14th. But now the city has an opportunity to make change now, to try to stem some of this police misconduct that we see happening around this city every single day. So that decades from now, we're not standing in the same position, still reeling from the impact of racist and oppressive policing throughout this city. One very small but significant step the city can take today is what FDLA is demanding. All the city needs to do in this one step is to actually give people the opportunity to call their lawyer. That's not so much to ask. Post the phone number for FDLA and allow people to call them. How can the city, in good faith, say that that is not take that step? It won't change everything, but it will change some things, and it is a significant and important step in the right direction. And the time for change isn't in months from now after more negotiations. The time for change is today.
Thank you, Sarah. Also, the first defender, volunteer on the hotline. Garry to the next. So I want to point out too, right, the Chicago Police Department is who told us that less than 1% of all of their arrestees in their custody in any facility in all of 2013 had a lawyer at any point of their up to 48, 72 hours detention. Less than 1%. I FOIA'd them and they responded by phone. 302 arrestees had a lawyer enter any CPD facility in that entire year, out of 143,398, right? So of course we need their partnership, of course we need this move. And keep in mind too, First Defense responds to facilities throughout the city, not just Home and Square. And the last time one of our attorneys couldn't find their client, they were in the same building as this client and had confirmed that before and were told, no, we don't know where he is. Then he was let out, and the whole time he was there, right? So these kinds of problems, being denied access to your counsel, even in the same building, are truly throughout the system, and we can speak to that. I want to point out our next speaker, Darius Lightfoot, to share how even for simple, false even arrests, this is still an issue that affects families, loved ones, and the people that are held incommunicado.
Thank you. My name is Darius Lightfoot, D-A-R-R-I-U-S L-I-G-H-T-F-O-O-T. I am a youth advocate of juvenile justice and justice itself. Being denied your rights is unjust. Being held for 3, 4, 10 hours without a phone call is unjust. We are here today to ask the city, to ask the mayor, to ask the superintendent that they support this cause, that they support human rights, that they support civil rights, that they support the development of people in impoverished neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. I got detained last year for something minor, something that I didn't do. I walked outside, got stopped. I said, I do not consent to a search. They said, oh, you're smart, huh? We're gonna lock you up. And they charged me with disorderly conduct. As soon as I got to the station, I told them, can I get my phone call? I asked for my phone call as soon as I got to the station. They said, you won't get your phone call until you go to the back and get processed. I didn't get to the back until 4 hours later. I was sitting there being asked questions, getting yelled at, being called names for something that I never did, for knowing my rights. When I got to the back, I had to ask for my phone call. I didn't get offered. I had to ask once again. And they said, you can use the payphone. I don't got no money on me, you feel me? I ain't got no change. So I can't use no payphone to call my moms, to call my people, to let them know. So who did I call? 1-800-LAW-RAMP4. But the call did not go through. I called and I called and I called, and it would not go through. And I'm like, 1-800 is a collect number, right? So I'm like, hold on, let me switch it up. Let me, I might got the wrong number. So I pressed 1-866-LAW-RAMP4. Did not go through. Something was wrong there. Something was not going right. Something was smelling fishy. I was in a cell for 4 hours, additional 4 hours to the ones that I already had. Still didn't talk to anyone on the outside world. When I got booked, they let me go. So I was detained in custody for 8 hours for nothing. Got let go, didn't have much left to go back home, so I had to walk home from the 3rd District on 71st and Cottage Grove. As Sarah and Charles said, this is my story, but this is also his story, and her story, and thousands of other citizens of Chicago. We need to stop this madness. We need to do something about it. We need to support. We need to fight back for our civil rights, for our human rights. We are humans. We are citizens. Thank you.